Hey, welcome to Guitar Knobs, the guitars, gear, noise, and nonsense podcast, hosted today by these knobs.
Tony Dudzik, Pick Guardian.
Jared Brandon in Nashville.
What?
Yes. There's no
back,
place
baby.
like home in Nashville.
Oh, it's super snowy, but it just feels like Ohio to me.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
amazing.
There you go.
Hey, everybody, it's me, Todd Novak.
more.
Welcome to the Guitar Knobs podcast. We'll talk about Jared's snow business later, I guess. We're thrilled to death that you are listening to our show. We are very excited. We're always excited this time of the week
Do you know why?
because we get to hang out and talk about guitar stuff. I love
Yes.
it.
That's right.
What else do we
I get
do?
to talk to my friends and new friends. Speaking of new friends,
Yes.
we got one on the line. Friend, who are you?
My name is Sean Kochel.
Hey.
Excellent.
Hey.
And your company is called what?
Kochel Guitars.
Okay, and where can people go find out about that as we're listening?
And they can go right to kochelguitars.com. Find me on Instagram at Kochel Guitars, and I'm, of course, on Facebook.
Excellent. Well, we got a bunch of requests, and they said, you really should talk to this dude. And I checked in with Hank of Rattlesnake because
that's
he's
right.
he's like your neighbor.
He is. Hank's an awesome dude.
And he said, absolutely, got to have him on. I said, that's a big enough endorsement for me. So we're going to talk to you. And now, what is it that maybe in an intriguing way, you do a different kind of guitar, by and large? What kind of guitars do you do, by and large? We'll get into the deep stuff later.
All right, yeah. For the most part, I do resonator guitars.
We have not had. You're the first on the show.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So we're going to learn a whole bunch about that. I'm the one with the dumb questions. So there.
Pass me the biscuit.
Yeah. We've got a whole bunch of stuff to get through, including a great interview.
Yes.
So let's get to it, shall we?
Yes, we shall.
All right. First and foremost.
Announcements?
Yes. Well, let's see. This will come out next week. Yes. So when you hear this at the beginning of next week, if you're going out to LA and hanging out in Anaheim, please
Specifically,
get a hold
Anaheim.
of me and Tony. Yeah, in Anaheim for NAM. Please get a hold of us. We'd love to meet you, talk to you, whatever.
Yes.
Regardless of, I don't know. Pick something regardless of, Tony.
regardless of time of day.
Corduroys or not, we don't care.
Time of whether you're wearing your Ugg boots in 70-degree weather.
Yes, like Tony did. So we're very excited about that. It's going to be a ton of fun. We're going to be out
Yes.
there with Johnny Morales,
Yes.
Oakland Guitars. We're all hanging out together in the same Airbnb
Yahoo!
over by Disney. Anyways.
Gosh.
Yeah.
We had a really good time out there the time beforehand.
Yes, the time beforehand.
That was a really good time.
Yes, indeed.
That's nice.
Also, I got a really interesting call from, well, not a call. I got a really interesting message
A massage.
from Cindy of Cindy Guitars.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
New York City.
Oh, yeah.
And two of our former guests on the podcast that we interviewed,
Yes.
They're launching something new that is, I think, going to be quite exciting, and you're going to want to check out, everybody. So Rick Kelly,
Yes.
founder of Carmine Street Guitars, and
Oh, yeah.
Cindy Hewledge, that we just mentioned, Cindy Guitars, they've got a new guitar and music-related podcast called Bones of Old New York. And if you heard that episode, you can recall that their guitars are all made out of like the wood from the Bowery and stuff.
Timbers.
That's
So
awesome.
this is going to be, I think, a really interesting show, and they're just super sweetheart people. So
Yes.
Please check that out. And I'm going to roll the demo, the promo for that right now.
I'm Cindy Hewledge and I make guitars.
I make guitars too.
I know that. Let me introduce you.
I'm Rick Kelly.
Never mind. But we make more than guitars now. We make podcasts.
What's a podcast?
Well, you know how our producer, Mike the Mike, comes to the shop and records us hanging out with all our friends?
Oh yeah, like when Steve Gunn came by and told us that great story about losing his guitar in Russia. Or Dylan Keefe from RC Playground brought in that cool bass I made him with wood from the Chelsea Hotel.
Exactly. We hand make custom guitars right here at Carmine Street Guitars in New York City's Greenwich Village. And we build them out of 200-year-old wood from these famous old buildings. That's where we got the name of the show, too. The Bones of Old New York.
Yeah, we make guitars for all kinds of people like Bob Quine, Bob Dylan, Lou Reed, Patti Smith, Lenny Kaye, Jeff Tweedy, and even Mike, our producer.
It's true, I love my guitar.
So listen to our show, The Bones of Old New York. Stream it wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts.
Favorite, what now?
It's like a radio show on your cell phone.
Oh, that sounds like fun.
So make sure you go check that out, everybody.
I'm checking it out
should be
right
fun.
now.
I think they're doing it bi-weekly.
Cannot wait.
Okay.
And I believe they just kicked
Does that mean
it off.
twice a week or every other week?
Yeah, I guess every other week. Yes, bi-weekly. Yes, that's
Come on, Johnny,
clever.
That would be bi-monthly.
Yes. Anyhow, so there you go.
I always have to just make sure Todd is being accurate.
I appreciate that. So congratulations and I guess good luck.
Yes.
And success to further success to Cindy and Rick.
Yes.
And go check out our previous episodes with them. Cindy Guitars and Carmine Street Guitars.
Yes.
I can't remember the numbers
Kelly.
because it's back there.
Yeah, they're back there.
Yeah.
Just do a Google search.
Yeah. All right. Let's get into what's going on in our Music World Weekly. We're going to kick it off with the lovely, the voluptuous Tanya Bolonsky, who's not aged well from the previous
I'm
voluptuous
aged
years.
like a fine cheese.
Yes, like a fine sausage. Okay. All right, Tony, go ahead and kick that off, and then we're going to check in with our friend Sean.
Okay, well, that sounds good. Well, what a surprise today. I hear a knock at the door. Housekeeping! It was not. And I go down, and the dogs are going crazy, and I open the front door, and there is a box.
Yes.
A box. A heavy
it
box.
addressed to?
Jelly of the Month Club.
Yes, it is not the Jelly of the Month Club.
Oh.
It's,
What was the name on the label?
It said swimming pool instructions. I got, with my Christmas bonus, a new swimming pool.
Perfect.
Except it fits inside of a box.
Yes.
No, that's not it at all. Because inside the box, it was from a certain person who lives in Nashville, Tennessee,
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
and might be on the line right now.
You're really dragging this on. Tell them what the heck it is.
Well, anyhow, I open this up, and scribbled on an envelope, it says, "Give one to Todd."
Perfect.
I said, okay.
Real big.
I can do that. But inside, this is an incredible book.
That's like a 15-pound book.
It's easily, and two of them. So it was like a 30-pound box.
Yeah.
So this is a book called The Decade That Rocked, The Photography of Mark Weissguy Weiss. Now, for those who don't know who Mark Weiss is, he photographed everyone in the late 70s, through the 80s, even into the 90s.
Not the guy who did The Room, who's like, oh, hi, Mark. Not that guy.
Not that guy.
Okay.
But anyhow, this is such a cool book because it covers an era that I'm very familiar with.
Oh, yeah.
And there's some great photos in here.
Yeah.
And I would venture a guess.
There better be. It's a big book.
It's a big book, and there's lots of color photos.
It would be a shame to stock that big, giant book with crap photos.
Yes. I mean, I could probably do without the John Bon Jovi stuff, but hey, he's in there. But there's some great shots of AC/DC and oh my gosh, all of
Ozzy and the Crew.
Oh, Ozzy, yeah, definitely.
Def Leppard and all kinds of junk.
So anyhow, it's just a really cool book. Thank
I'm
you,
excited.
Jared.
Yeah, that's super cool, Jared.
This is such a cool book,
and it's signed.
And it's signed too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw that. Originally I got you guys bottles of whiskey. So the next time I see you guys, I'll give you a bottle of whiskey to put in the podcast shop there.
Yes.
And studio, I'm sorry. And then I saw those books and I'm like, they got to have these.
Yes,
it's perfect.
Absolutely.
It's
I
perfect.
opened it up and I saw that it was signed and I'm like, oh.
Did you get one for yourself?
I did not.
Did you get one for
I
Sean?
did not, but I have access to them. I have access to more.
Sean, you missed it by that much.
You could have been a contender. So anyhow, that was a great surprise. I love good surprises.
Fantastic.
So thanks again,
Well,
Jared.
I still have mine at the house for you,
problem.
Jared. So
Yes.
No problem.
All right, let's check in with Sean. What's going on in your music world this week that maybe is outside of the big story of your building?
Oh boy. I live a pretty boring life, so I don't have any big news other than I'm trying to stay warm. We've been in a crazy weather pattern that we've been freezing like below zero weather for the last 5 days, and
Woof.
hard to work in the shop. So
Do you have? Did you get any like any new vinyl or listening to any new music or anything like that?
well, that new Black Keys single came out, I guess.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, it was pretty lame, and I like that older stuff. I wish they would have never changed that sound. But anyway, yeah, just that's about it. That's about how exciting my life is. I got a wife and kids, and we've been trying to just endure this weather lately. So.
Isn't it below 20 though? Didn't you have some below 20 days?
Yeah, the other morning it was 37 below. So yeah.
Oh yeah.
And I go up to the shop and try to get it heated up and work, and it's just like, holy cow, I don't even know what I'm doing here. So
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I found that exciting when I lived in Minnesota. I'm sure one of the few people that would be standing outside downtown waiting for the big buses the tour bus things to take you. They have a fantastic public transport system. So they have these, big buses with heated seat and high back seats and reading lights and all kinds of stuff. And we'd sit there and wait, and the wind would be channeling through these things. And I'd never experienced that kind of cold. And I was like, this is really exciting. I'm pretty sure I was the only person.
Yes, I'm sure you were.
Yeah, middle of winter, January in Minneapolis.
Yeah.
Oof. So I feel you, man. I understand what that.
So you're in Minneapolis, not St. Paul.
Yes, I was in Minneapolis. I remember one time. So I had a Saab. I think you can probably commiserate here.
Is this a sob story?
Yeah, it is a Saab story. I had a Saab, which fortunately was built for that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah.
And I remember getting ready to go to work on one. It happened to be a weekend, and I got in. I turned on the car, and it said -25.
Oh man.
And that's just the outside temperature with no wind or anything. And I was just like, I felt like, yeah, let's do this. We're gonna make it. And it was kind of like this crazy challenge. Like I could die,
Yeah.
So, but I made it clearly. So
That's
does
good.
that excite you the same way it did me, Sean?
no, it doesn't. I'm over that in a major way. I grew up out in the prairie, and we got that all the time. And now that I'm in the mountains, I can do without it. And I worked up in the Arctic there for about 6 years. So
That's
brutal.
awesome.
Yeah. So
Yeah. Oh well. Let's move on over to Jared.
Well, so my good friend Mike, I do a lot of collaboration with him and just playing music that he writes, and I collaborate, and we have a good creative relationship, and we're not famous or no one knows who we are, and we don't care. We just have a great time. We have a great time making music. And this last song that he wrote is all acoustic guitars. Huh. So it's all Martin D35s. So I play my 1969 Martin D35 and he's got a 76 D35 that he plays. So it's all Martin D35s, except there is a Gibson Les Paul part. And the funny thing is, you don't hear an electric guitar in the recording at all. That's just the guitar I picked up and plugged in and used for the Mel 9 effect.
Ah, the Mel 9.
So the Mel 9 effect, and I talked about this before and rant and raved about how great it is. So it's an effect pedal that you can plug in an electric guitar and it comes out sounding like a Mellotron.
Yeah.
So I just thought it was funny.
A $10,000 Gibson going through a $150 pedal to sound like a $500 organ.
Well, this was a demo, and so we're gonna call it more like a $1,800. Yeah,
yes,
$1,800. Yeah, going through but I mean, the funny thing is, it's so acoustic and soft and nice, and it's kind of like it sounds like a recorder, like the beginning of Strawberry Fields.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Kind of like that effect. So it's got a really cool sound. But it's a Les Paul, dang it.
Yeah.
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
That's the funny part. So I thought I'd share that.
That's
No,
cool.
that's good.
That's cool. Did you use the recent one you got with the staple pickups?
No, I used the one that was closest to me where I was sitting, and that was the Silver Burst custom.
That's an excellent way to choose instruments.
Modern Silver Burst custom. It's
All right.
got the cutaway. It's 6 pounds. So
Nice.
Nice.
Not bad.
What about you, Todd?
Well, hang on a second. Show and tell.
Show and tell. Uh-oh. He's leaving the stage. He's opening
is he going to
a
get the
guitar
book?
case. There he goes. It's opening. Oh, he's having trouble with the latches, folks. Oh, no. He closed them back up so he could bring the case back to the table. Oh,
banjo?
now he's opening the case.
Is it the Epiphone?
It appears to be an Epiphone acoustic of some sort.
Oh, yes.
And yes, it looks to be.
Tony
He's opening it.
gave me a bunch of crap about not being able to string up a classical guitar.
Oh.
Let me tell you this, friends and
Oh.
families and folks.
Look at that sweet job Toddy did.
I don't see it, but I'm just going to go ahead and say great job.
Yeah,
That is perfectly acceptable.
Acceptable. That is
Yeah,
extraordinary.
you're sloppy up at the
Yeah, you're sloppy.
Sloppy
up
at the top end.
Not so much on
Yes.
one peg.
Yeah.
On one peg. Anyways,
Yeah.
so this is 1971. I just restrung it, so it's gonna be a little out of tune. That is a hey. Okay, yeah, we get it. That's a Yamaha. That's from the Gigaki,
Nippon Gaki.
Nippon Gaki.
It's a Japanese made. This is a good one.
Yeah. Anyways,
Nice.
the string broke, and the strings, they were so gross, and I don't think they've been changed since '71. And so we put some Kurt Mangans on that.
Ah.
No, not Kurt Mangans. The D'Addario Art.
Oh, the ones that you got from
Yeah.
Steve. Yeah.
So, and the cool thing is, I got to kind of hang out and do that with my daughter hanging around, and yeah, it was nice.
Very
I have
nice.
a
Sounds
question.
nice. Yeah, go ahead.
How was I was thinking we didn't say anything about that Winter Guitar Show. How was that?
We did have a wrap up of the Winter Guitar Show.
I didn't
wasn't
clip
on
these
the
ends,
thing.
by the way.
You didn't clip them?
I didn't clip them. That's how precise. They're exactly the length or the height of the wraparound bridgey thing.
This week's
Are you
annual
serious?
retentive award
Yeah,
goes to Todd
I
Novak.
nailed it, man. First time, baby.
Nice job.
Trophy.
No, it's very nice. You get a participation trophy, Todd.
All right, coming back.
Todd's coming back to the stage.
Oh.
He's putting his headphones on as we speak. And he's ready. Oh, he's tangled up in the cord. Oh,
I made
Lord.
it. I made it. I was really nervous about that.
Well, I mean,
because you got me all wound up about it. You're like, oh, you've never done that. Oh, geez, what are you thinking? And I did it. And I was like, look what I did.
You're
And I said, Tony's going to say, I'm a good boy. I did it good.
I'm putting a gold star on that one.
All right.
You want to do a couple of mine?
What?
You want to do a couple of mine?
No, I was not. It was an enjoyable time.
Yeah, it's not.
And if you haven't restrung your classical, try it. Worst thing can happen is you mess it up.
Yeah. No, you're not going to mess it up.
No, you can't. It's actually really hard to mess it up. They're very forgiving, unlike the electrics.
I don't know
I
if I
found
call
that to
them
be-
forgiving.
I say they are.
Okay.
Okay, we need to check in. You know what? Speaking of forgiving, Tony.
Yes.
You know what? It goes really well with pedals.
Classical guitars?
No. Next to the classical guitar in my area is a big pile of Tour Gear Designs patch cables.
Oh,
I know. And they are perfect for stringing your pedal board together. All shapes and sizes, all kinds of lengths, It is a fantastic offering.
Did I mention they're flat?
They are flat, and they have a very, very low,
Profile.
I guess, profile and
Diameter,
thumbprint, if you call it, whatever. Anyways, you got to get some of these. Tour Gear is very kind, and they set up a coupon for us. If you go there, you load up your cart, you get to the little thing, it says, enter your coupon. You're going to put the guitar knobs, all one word, and they're going to save 15%.
15%.
15%. So make sure you go do that. And we need to thank Tour Gear Designs for sponsoring our 4 on the Floor. Jared?
Let me get a little bit of this. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. 4 on the floor.
All right, Sean, go ahead and give us your 4 on the floor.
All right. Well, my number 1 would be my minor glitch fuzz pedal. It's called the Res Dog. It's from my buddy over in Bozeman, Minor Glitch, Mario Minor. And it's just a fun fuzz pedal. He's a native builder. He really prides himself on just taking what he does to a whole new level, which is really cool. If you've ever seen his stuff online, he took the idea of a res dog, if you know what that is. He's got the bark, the snark, and the bite for the different adjustments on the pedal.
Reservation dog, right?
The reservation dog, and it's just a great pedal all around.
All right. I looked up, and by the way, it's minor, like coal miner glitch. Minor glitch electronics.
Yeah.
And I think, I could be wrong, but that might be a Facebook. Oh, let me see here.
He only does have just the Facebook.
Yeah. So go check that out. Minor glitch. We'll look that up whilst you're talking. So what do you like about that one?
I just like the fact, just as homegrown, it just represents Montana and growing up, knowing it just has a real cool feel and aesthetic, and I just like the sound of different fuzz playing through it, and it just does it for me.
Real cool, nice.
There it is, right
Res
there.
Dog.
Ooh, and the eyes
shotgun shells.
Well, that's the cool thing. Like when you're jamming out, the eyes light up on that dog, and it's pretty badass. So
nice. Oh, that's a beautiful turquoise color too on some of them. That looks really cool.
Yeah, that's cool stuff.
Got a big wolf. Looks like obviously it's so the idea of a res dog is it's not like a junkyard dog. They're mean. They don't mess around.
That's right. Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. Nice shout out to a smaller builder that we may not be the most familiar with. So go check that out. Minor Glitch. And does he make more than the Res Dog?
He does. As far as pedals go, he makes some amps and does some other electronic stuff. He's pretty small builder. He does it in batches. He's pretty big at, he's a performer. And then he also works at the big music store over here that is pretty well known.
Looks like he's got a pretty cool, and I've seen some of these before, and I actually have 3 of these in my garage, though they are not amps, but they are ammunition cases, the metal ammunition cases.
Yeah, he does that. What's cool about that, the circuit board of that is in the shape of Montana, and each one of the different circuits for that board is an Indian reservation in the state of Montana, and it's all connected together, which I think just is a really unique and really prideful thing on his behalf to build such a cool thing.
Yeah. They're really, really. I like the look of that. That's really fun.
The aesthetic, if you will.
Yes, that too. All right. How about number 2?
Number 2, this is I build stomp boxes. So those are basically the only 2 things I use when I'm playing is that fuzz pedal and one of my stomp boxes. It's just a piezo based stomp box. Gives you everything from a knock on the door to a big bass thump.
Literally a stomp box.
Yeah, literally a stomp box. And you got a big enough PA, they sound awesome. So yeah, that's basically my 2 out of the 4. I make them just out of a lot of the scrap stuff that I end up with my builds, and I keep everything, and then
fun.
I build them, sell them all over the place. Yeah. A lot of music stores carry them. It's fun
Not
stuff.
bad. Not bad.
One time when I was in Austin, there was a band playing at a club down there. And the coolest thing is the drummer had a Samsonite suitcase that was his kick. And it actually sounded really good.
Interesting.
But it looked really cool too, because and it's probably easy to carry around. It's got a handle and everything.
Dig it.
Yes.
I like that. All right. Let's get on. Well, that's so we had it's a 2 on the floor.
Yes.
Everybody.
Yeah. 2-wheel.
That's okay.
Yeah.
2-speed.
Yeah. One little shout out thing. I think I'm saying this right here. It appears to be so on the speaker cover on the 50 cal ammunition box it's wire, but it looks like a dream catcher kind of. I could be wrong, but that's what when I see that I'm like that looks like a dream catcher.
Really?
Kinda, yeah.
Looks
Which
kinda,
would it's kind of a native thing.
Looks
right?
kind of like a spider web.
Well, if you're dreaming about spiders, I suppose. But anyways, just a thing I saw. Okay, so let's talk to Sean. Get me out of this. Let's talk to Sean about his fantastic guitars. And reminder, everybody, go to, you want to tell them where to go real quick?
Yeah, just KochelGuitars.com. Or
Kochel.
Yep, Kochel guitars.com, or find me on Instagram at Kochel Guitars.
All right.
And then, of course, everybody has Facebook. So Facebook, of course.
Yes. All right. Well, I think the obvious thing to dive into is there are not a ton of resonator guitar makers out there. Well, comparatively to other guitar makers, I would say, right?
That's
Tony?
correct. Yeah.
Yeah. Tony's giving me the eyeballs. Like, why do you open your mouth?
That's my job here.
Are you saying that there's tons of them out there?
Millions.
Well,
millions and
I'm going to go
millions.
with Sean on this one.
I mean, compared to like when I started to how many there are now, there's quite a few. But I mean, there's not as many as like guys building tellies or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Definitely.
So
how about resonator tellies?
I make a resonator telly.
I believe it. So, Sean, tell us about how you got kind of into this. I think this is not the typical thing to fall into when people go, I'm going to start making guitars.
No. I had so a while back I had a beekeeping business, and I'll even say before that I was into guitars, and I'd buy and sell guitars, and I'd find junk guitars, and I'd rebuild them and resell them and play them and have fun with them. But in the meantime, I ended up starting this commercial bee business with my dad. He was getting ready to retire, and the business was going along great. And then my dad got sick and passed away. And then so that year it threw a big damper in the whole business, of course. And but that same year, all my bees died commercially, and it was just such an economic blow. I was like, ugh, forget it.
Also, a mental and heart.
Oh,
blow.
yeah.
Jeez.
Well, I mean, the guy was my best friend. So
yeah. When was that?
That was in 2003.
What was his name?
Larry. Yeah.
Larry.
Yeah.
All right.
And but before all that stuff, I had it in my head that I was gonna collect all these old buildings. So I'd go around, ask farmers, ask ranchers about, hey, what are you going to do with that old building? And then I'd ask that a lot of them used to just burn them or push them over or whatever. And all that stuff was from the early homesteading days. So 100 plus years old. I'd get the history of the building, dismantle the building, and then collect and keep all this wood. So this was before I ever knew I was going to start building guitars. But I was collecting all this wood, and I thought, well, there's all these businesses that buy into these materials to set up. Like Applebee's would buy it to make signs for their chain, or some other company would buy this wood for the aesthetic of their restaurant or whatever. And when I went to go sell this wood to these people, they didn't want to really pay you much for how much effort I put into it. So I just hung on to it for years. I mean, we had like 8 buildings we had stacked up on a property. And so anyway, fast forward, my dad passes away, the bees die. And that winter, this thing pops up, how to build a guitar in a day. And I was like, well, I weirdly bought some tools, like some luthier tools from StewMac the year before, just because I was rebuilding guitars that I would, fix a bridge here, redo a brace there, fix a nut. And I was like, well, one of these days I'm going to build a guitar. But then a year later, here I am actually building a guitar. And it was just to build like the simple box guitar. And I went through that. And I showed it to my family, and they were like, whoa, holy cow, that thing is awesome, man. And I was like, oh, yeah, it is pretty cool. And my mom was going to do a craft show thing. And she's like, I'm going to take one of these with me if you don't mind. And I was like, yeah, go for it. And she took it, and she's like, I sold it. That thing, it wasn't even there 5 minutes. And I was like, oh, you think people like those things? And
was
guitars.
Was this a resonator guitar back then?
No. This was just a simple box guitar, just a 4-string box.
Oh, like a cigar box guitar?
Like a cigar box guitar.
Oh, okay.
This is in like the winter of 2003, 2004. And I was like, well, you know what? I could make a few more of these things, and then I'll start using that money to redo my bee business, try to buy back more bees, get that going again. And so I started making them, but I just kept getting order after order after order. And that first year, it was like 66 orders. The next year was like 120 orders.
Wow.
It was just like, I was like, holy cows. All the way up till about 2008. 2008 hit, that recession hit.
Oh, yeah.
It went down. It went down to nothing. And I couldn't even barely give those things away. And I was like, well, I don't want to go get a real job now. And I was like, well, what the heck am I going to do? And I was like, well, I'll just double down, because I mean, when I was in between building those box guitars, what I really was like in love with the idea of making like a arch top or an acoustic, So I started building acoustics. I bought way better tools, started reading up on more things, and it eventually morphed into the acoustic guitars. Like, you know what? There's a lot of good acoustic builders out there. I didn't go to school for this, but I still like building guitars. What's a guitar that I really like? It's like, I like that resonator guitar. So I just did some research, started building resonators, and I mean, basically the rest is history. But the cool thing about that was the turnaround after the recession, was when things started picking up. Then all of a sudden I was like, oh, I got orders coming in, and guys like these resonator guitars. So and then now what ended up happening is it's kind of like my niche, even though there's a million other guitars I'd love to build, but I'm so busy building this resonator all the time.
So busy building this stupid resonator.
Well, no, I try to get better. They're not stupid resonators, but I try to get better and better doing it all the time. Like I try to perfect the craft, and I get more and more into it, and come up with new ideas and change it that way. But no, I mean, there's other guitars that if I had time, I dream about building, so it's just, it drives me. It's like, when am I ever going to get the time to build that other dream guitar over here?
Now, are you, it looks like, I mean, based on the designs that I'm seeing, are you making your own metal parts for the resonator, or are you getting them and modifying them?
No. So I'm making all the metal parts now, other than if somebody orders something with the traditional cover plate or whatever. So so I came up with the ideas like, how could I differentiate myself? And a lot of it was also like, I want to be different, as far as like, I don't want to keep looking like what everybody else is making either.
Right.
So there's so much artistic freedom with that thing. I can make different designs. And one of the other things was too, at the time, was I was sourcing a certain cover plate from a manufacturer down in Texas, or a guy from Texas who was getting them for me, and he couldn't get them anymore. And I really wanted it. And they're like, they're not making them anymore. And scoured the internet, couldn't find anybody selling them. So I was like, well, I have CNC knowledge. I'll just design one and cut it out. But how am I going to make it? How am I going to dome this thing? And so then I made a mold, started molding all the metal pieces, press them, And I was like, okay, I can do whatever I want now. I'll
That's
make
amazing.
whatever design I want and just incorporate it into the guitar for the design. So
I just saw this black single cut. It's all like oxidized black, the whole thing. Good Lord, that is a beautiful guitar. That is really cool. Now, let me ask you about okay, we're gonna have to. We will unpack exactly what a resonator guitar is in a second. But whilst
And at the same time,
yes, that we're on talking about the caps,
the resonator.
the resonator cap. Okay, sure. It seems as though that would be like one of the almost like a literally like a brand, like on a livestock, where it's like you got a signature decoration, a signature, motif, if you will. Is that the case in the resonator world?
No, not necessarily. I mean, most of those guys most guys like the traditional looks there's different ones. There's like a strainer style, chicken foot style, one called the UFO, but floral design. No, that's not necessarily where you brand your design in necessarily.
Okay. So let's talk about. We'll get back into all the little details that you do and everything, but I think it would be very helpful for. Oh, I see Are those on one of your posts? You've got some turquoise wedge things. Are those your stomp boxes in there?
Oh yeah. Are you on like the Instagram?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
Bees.
Yeah, bees and all kinds of. Okay, man, so much stuff to talk about. Let's take a step back. All right, I'm going to ask a lot of the questions that Tony's going to roll his eyes at, because honestly, you got a guy on the line who knows zip about
Todd
resonator guitars.
Todd will be playing the part of idiot on the street.
I will be playing the part of Todd. So, what exactly is a resonator guitar?
Resonator guitar is a
Did
guitar
you need to get a drink of water before this, or
anyway, yeah. Well, yeah. This is going to be a long one here. No, seriously though, a resonator guitar was a style of guitar that was invented to help amplify the sound during the big band era in the early days. Right, it was right before electrification, and it was to project sound out.
Now, is this after the banjo? Because I know the banjo was like, I believe the banjo was like the first, because they were doing like the normal, acoustics like Django and all that stuff, and then the banjo, because they're like, we can't hear it, and they brought the banjo in.
Right. So yeah, this is after the banjo.
Okay. This is how I vaguely understand the history of the early guitars.
So yeah, it was in the the time when that they wanted to project that sound, but it's a metal cone inside of a well that your strings go over the bridge, and then when it's played, it amplifies out. So it resonates that sound to help play over the other music. But not too long after that, then amplification came in, and then the resonator kind of fell to the wayside, but other cultures picked it up and ran with it. So a lot of people use it as a reminiscent to the early days of the blues, and a lot of people take it to the Hawaiian style music or lap steel type. It gives you that. I like it because it evokes an older time, a throwback feel to me. And there's a lot of cool things that can be done with a resonator guitar that you're just not going to get with a regular guitar. But with that being said, also, like most of the resonator guitars that I'm building are more of a electric hybrid. I don't build too many of the fully acoustic style, but I do make a hollow body, which sounds more like an acoustic. And then the one that's popular, the ones that mostly that you'll see on that Instagram with, it's kind of more of almost a solid body that then uses pickups to exploit the sound.
Got it.
Best of both worlds.
Yes, indeed. So even if you are not playing in a ragtime band or something like that, like who are these for?
Well, I get a lot of orders from, I'd say mainly
Please
like
say ragtime bands.
well, that's what I was going to say, like ragtime and barbershop quartet style. But yeah, no, it's a lot of blues musicians will use them, and people who just want a different tool in their toolbox, But it's a lot of guys who see my stuff. It throws them back to like this idea of early days. Working through the blues type, but I mean, really anybody can use a resonator guitar. It's just another sound that you could use to make any kind of music you want.
Nice. Do you set them up as like standard guitars or like slide guitars?
No,
I was going to ask that actually, for real.
When I send them out as it's not so it's I don't consider it slide. But some people might consider it's like it's. I try to do the best of both worlds because a lot of guys like to finger pick and fret through. But when you get to like on the 12th, it's about 8 thousandths at the 12th for me. So a lot of guys think that's a little high. But at the same time, you can adjust them down to like if you want to have a lower action, if that's what you're into, playing further down without the slide. But yeah, I try to do the best of both worlds, slide and chording.
Are you a good slide player?
I think I'm not too bad. Yeah. I feel like I'm definitely a lot better than I used to be, so I love noodling with the slide and coming up with different riffs. And yeah,
I think it would be difficult to say, I'm going to build resonator guitars and like be terrible at slide and or hate playing the slide. Right?
Right. Yeah. But the thing is, you don't have to have a slide to play these things either at the same time.
Right.
I think it makes it a way cooler instrument if you're using the slide. And then there again with the slide, you've got so many other choices to play. You're like, are you going to use a brass slide or a copper slide? Are you going to use glass? Mm-hmm. Or, so it's all give you a different
AA battery,
a socket. Yeah.
I don't know. Now I back to now. What is the correct terminology for these things? Don't listen to Tony. What is the correct terminology for the metal biscuit on the front?
Oh, the top part is called the cover plate.
Thank you. Okay, so the resonator cover plate, the resonator apparatus.
Yes.
All the pieces. How many pieces is that?
It'd be 3. Oh well, no, I take that back, including the cover plate 4. And the tailpiece 5. So yeah, 5.
Okay.
So, but there's different styles of resonators. There's like a spider cone, there's a tri-cone, and there's a single cone. I just make single cone resonators. So, there's a whole world within a world of resonators, of different kinds of resonators that are made.
And now, so I'm glad that you just went right into that because that's where I was going to try to go. I assume that there are different acoustic qualities that you'd get out of different things. Any particular reason why you just do the one? And the second part of that question, what is the unique acoustic sound out of that?
Well, the one reason I do that is just because I'm a one-man show, so it's to keep from having to shift gears constantly mentally while building. And just how the majority of my jigs are set up, I can make different guitar models using the same formula. And then acoustically, I have 3 different sounds that you can get out of one thing. And it just depends on what model that you end up getting. So like the popular one is basically a solid body, which you get that tinny sound, but there again, you're relying a lot on the pickup. And then the semi-hollow body, or the hollow body, basically how I built the whole guitar, which gives you the best of both worlds, where you're getting just a nice acoustic, like a fuller, richer sound acoustically, which gives you that reverb back from the cone hitting and bouncing off the sound box of the guitar. And then of course the fully acoustic, which is then where you get more of that beautiful acoustic sound that an acoustic guitar can give you. So,
and your the hollow body ones you were talking about are this kind of like a parlor shape guitar, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Yes.
So I do the majority of the Les Paul style and the parlor ones. It's all parlor size. So 24.5 scale guitars. But then when I do the Telly style and then some of those other guitars that you might see that I do, they're all at 25.5. So
Telly styles are really cool.
Oh, thank you.
If you would have said, "Oh, I make Telly style resonator guitars," I don't know that I would be like, "Oh yeah, show me." But these are I'm really now I've seen some of these before, but I'm going through a lot more, and I'm like, wow, there's so many varietals that you can come up with just from the accoutrement that you put on and all the different little design details. You must have a lot of fun, especially when customers are saying, "I'd like this or that."
Yeah, I mean, one thing I like is when they say, when somebody wants something out of the norm, and then it's just like, "All right, now I got to do something different," and that's fun when somebody has their own. I'm not always. I take that back because I've had nightmare situations too, where you're like, "You want me to make what now?"
Yeah.
But no, like when somebody does something a little bit like, "Hey, I always wanted a guitar that looked like this, or had this design, or maybe had this this pickup combination, or something different." Because a lot of the things that you see that I have out there, I've made hundreds of them, and it's nice when somebody comes up with a new idea.
Yeah.
So,
like, has anybody ever said that they want like a strainer style, but in the like a portrait of Rodney Dangerfield?
I wish, yeah. No, they've made some pretty strange requests, but nothing quite like old Dangerfield.
I mean, it was a there was a shot. There was a chance that could have happened. I might as well have asked it. Now, have you, after you've done so many of these, you said you're using a tricone?
No. I just do biscuit style single cone models mainly.
Okay.
I mean, not that I'm averse from doing any of those other ones, but I would really have to change up my setup.
Right.
Yeah.
Where have you found the most, I guess, creative leeway or inspiration, like to mess around with things the most, as far as the different parts and pieces that you're working with? Because there are a lot to be able to have creative freedom here, and I assume that maybe one you've been more drawn to than another.
Yeah, well, of course, it's the cover plate and then just the finish in itself. The one thing is, like, I let everybody know I'm not doing any nitro finishes. I don't overly polish anything, and that's just not my aesthetic. I love guitars and people who do that, but that's not who I am. But it's like any kind of wild or rustic finish, because it all also goes back to the building materials that I'm using, because they're pretty unconventional compared to what most people use in the world of guitar building. So,
what kind of woods are you using, since it's all reclaimed?
Yeah, so
tree wood.
Tree wood from the wood that comes off a tree. But no, it's just, this stuff in the West here, out in Montana especially, we're looking at pine, large tamaracks, things like that, which aren't typically considered tonal woods or guitar woods. But the fact is that this wood I'm using all came from the old growth forests that were first cut down when people are coming out here homesteading. Mm-hmm. And then they have 100+ years of weather beat into this wood. It gives it they totally have tonal quality that you definitely don't find in new pieces of lumber. So that's part of the other characteristic that goes with these guitars is the fact that I am using this old growth wood that you just can't go get today, and it doesn't it has such a unique sound of itself.
Yeah, that really ties in. You know, Todd was talking about Rick Kelly and Cindy, and you know they're since they're using that wood that you know was several hundred years old probably at the time that it was used in construction, and then tack on another 100 or 150 years.
It had been thousands of years.
Yeah, I mean it's
right out of the original growth forests of upstate New York.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know much about history, Tony, but
tell me, Todd. I know nothing of history. I'm destined to repeat it.
Trees are made of wood.
That's cool, though. So you're using. I mean, it's nice to be able to use. I really appreciate people who are able to reclaim things, especially when it comes to old wood like this, because it's irreplaceable.
Well, yeah, that's just it. If something's not eventually done with it, then it's gone to history. So.
Mm-hmm.
Too cool. Now, about how long does it take to put one of these to, from start to finish?
My standard like LP style, it's I always tell everybody about 60 hours is what it takes to put into there. Because one thing also where I might be, I don't know, I don't think many guitar builders are doing this, but I also do some urban logging. I have a sawmill, and I cut and dry all my neck wood. I'll like in town here, I'll get a maple tree or a walnut if possible, and use that wood for the necks. And I like to use black walnut for fingerboards. And so I have there's a lot going on. Not that I'm milling your neck and your fretboard that when I'm building your guitar, but all those things I have to constantly be doing, which I enjoy doing. To build guitars is I'm getting this wood ready for guitars that are going to be built in a couple of years from now. I have this wood that's ready now that I have to mill from blank stock down to the thickness that I need in order to build a proper fretboard or neck or body. Because that's the other thing, like on some of these solid bodies, I'll use like alder or maple, and then a lot of that's I veneer over with the antique wood to give the aesthetic that then goes with the rest of the guitar.
Nice.
Acoustically, those which I'll do them if somebody commissions me, but it's over 200 hours.
Oh yeah, with the full like big hollow body ones.
No. Well, the hollow bodies are roughly about the same as the solid bodies, but a full acoustic. Like if I make it
gotcha. Yeah. Proper acoustic. Now, the somebody who might not have seen or experienced a reclaimed wood, these some of them look pretty rough. Tell us about the playability and the experience of this reclaimed wood style.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I said, a lot of it's a veneer. The stuff. I rub it out enough to where you're not going to get full of splinters, and I do put a protective finish on there to hold it into shape. But and it plays great. I mean, so you could, if you tried hard enough, you could probably get a splinter in some of these, depending on what model you want. But that's also a lot of people will say, "Hey, don't." They specifically ask. They want that aesthetic, and I stick with what they want.
There you go.
But at the same time, I want to make sure you're not going to be playing it and end up wishing that you didn't. And get a big old splinter or something.
Yeah, this might be a really weird question. I for whatever reason, I think if I was building this, I might ask this, but. On your LP style and maybe some of the other ones, you have the upper sort of like body cover with your instrument panel and all that business, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever do that in like leather, like on a like hide or anything like that, like saddle hide or like anything like that?
It's funny that you've asked because people have asked me to do that, but then nobody's ever really pulled the trigger. So I've never actually done it, but I could. I'm pretty sure if I had a thick or stiff enough piece of leather, I could do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like all of this is, it looks like it's coming out of a barn, and there's a lot of leather in a barn usually. So
Yeah.
I was just thinking,
A lot of hay in the barn, too.
a lot of hay in the barn. Don't build anything with hay.
Doesn't
Hey,
stand
man,
up.
terrible fret markers. Yeah.
Yeah. So, if somebody was to call up, they go through the process, or are these you have them in stock online?
No, yeah. I mean, I used to try to keep them in stock. I used to try to sell at boutique shops, all that kind of stuff. But anymore, it's just, you get a hold of me. We go through the process of you building your guitar, me reiterating that back to you, and then you get in line, and I get at it. So it's just, order one process, just ordering. I mean, I can't keep up by myself. I don't intend to ever really hire anybody. Maybe if I get a little older and this is what I'm still doing, maybe. But these last 20 years, it's just been me. So
Interesting. Now let's talk about pickups really quick.
Okay.
This is Jared just went roar. Tell us about what pickups and stuff you're using.
All right. So just a little story on my pickups, because things have just changed here in the last year and a half or so. But I used to work with Rio Grande out of Houston, out of Texas there.
Yeah.
Really good friends with Dave. But Dave passed away. And when Dave passed away, they kind of shut down for a while. And then I wasn't able to get a hold of anybody for a while. And I had to hurry up and find another pickup guy. And that was right part of that COVID end of the COVID stuff there. And I found another guy out of Asheville, Magneto Design Lab. So that's who I'm using now.
Magneto Design Lab.
Yep. And the reason, go ahead.
Asheville, North Carolina?
Yeah. Yep.
Oh.
Yeah. So
tell us about them. I don't know that I've heard of them.
Yeah, Lee, he's just a small boutique builder. He always says his stuff is extremely handmade. He's been at it for a few years now, and I feel like he makes a really great product. One thing that drew me towards him was I love mini P90s, and that's where how I ended up meeting him. And that's why I had a great relationship. I used to sell guitars through Rebel Guitars at one time, and Wes introduced me to Rio Grande, and that's how I got to go with them. And they helped me figure out a style of pickup that would really kind of lend well with the guitar, which ended up being the Mini P90. And then after they went away, then met Lee, and he's been making. Yeah, so
I had no idea. I had no idea that Rio Grande that fella passed. That's kind of shocking, because I remember seeing his stuff on sale all the time, because I competed with, he was just another competitor, but competitor sounds like we didn't like each other, and that's not true. Between pickup builders, we all kind of get along and root each other along the way. But that's kind of sad to hear about that. Rio Grande, he was around for a while,
Yeah, he 40 plus years. I mean, he would just call me up and just talk shop about the industry, tell me the do's and don'ts, just give me a lot of great advice. And I really appreciated the guy. And it was just weird. I could call him anytime and he'd always answer or text him. Yeah. And then one week it was just weird. It's just like, hey, Dave, I need this pickup. I had a show coming up, and he wasn't answering. Hey, Dave, I'm getting into a crunch here. And my wife's like, well, Google. Like, I kept trying to call his number, and he wouldn't answer. And I Google, and his obituary pops up. I'm like, oh, my God. Yeah,
that's happened to me a few times with some people I used to deal with in the past. And that's just what happens when you've been doing this for a while. It's going to happen sooner or later. So we're sorry to hear about that, and but we're glad you found a new guy that kind of threw his hat in the ring.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
that's cool.
I think Rio Grande are back. There's some different guys trying to resurrect it. So, but at the same time, I'm already kind of committed to Lee, and I don't want to keep just shifting gears for whatever. So
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
I got a question for you, maybe the last one. Out there, there's a lot of lore, in the West, right?
yeah.
I don't know. Are you anticipating where this is going?
Well, I mean, we did. Yeah, I can only imagine.
Well, my question is, since you're doing, largely semi-custom builds for people, and there is, I think a lot of quote unquote soul or lore that is associated with these type of instruments and where you're making them. Have there been any like really interesting bits and bobs that people wanted incorporated in their builds?
Oh, yeah, I guess kind of. Nothing like of the human nature, but
Thankfully.
I'd like you to work this lean into my resonator guitar.
But no, I've had people this was quite a few years ago, but I had a guy from Washington State, and his family owned this cabin, and they ended up. There was a table that the family would gather around, and he had me, it was a Formica table. He had me use the Formica from the table, and he had it, the pick guard was made, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Or like I had a guy order a guitar and had his, it was a wedding gift to his brother when he got married. And the whole guitar was made of all the little bits.
His brother?
He married his brother.
Okay.
And it was magical. And and anyway, they used all their stuff from their grandpa's ranch. That was like this.
That's cool.
Yeah. So they had all this history, and then when he presented it at the wedding, they could say, "Hey, you remember this was from Grandpa's blah blah blah." This
that's neat.
crowd.
That's the kind of stuff that just absolutely just make you buckle and cry your eyes out.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
That was cool.
That's really cool. I was just thinking because I remember I got this old piece of turquoise when I was out that way a long time ago, and I thought, like turquoise, like little turquoise dot inlays, just carved that piece of turquoise up that I found in my grandpa up there or whatever. So that made me think like there's got to be like cool stories that you have of that.
Oh yeah, I mean people have done that. Like had me put different little bits and pieces in for like fret markers and things like that, or try to incorporate a piece that meant something to from a loved one or whatever, But
right,
I also like it. Also, when somebody's like, "Hey, can I give you? You're the artist. You do what you do." I'm like, "Oh, okay. Yeah, I've had this piece I've been saving and I want to use it." So
okay, on this. So this is still technically the last question, but of those things, when you get total creative freedom, is there something that you're like really dying to do?
Oh well, I mean, I guess I should rephrase that. Creative freedom as far as that rustic style. What I'm dying to do is like I want to build some epic archtop guitar that would melt your face off. I don't know, but no, I can't say honestly. There hasn't been anything I've been dying to do.
Okay,
but I did get a fun request the other day, and I'm kind of hoping it'll come. I don't know if the guy hears it. He's like, "Can you make me a pink guitar with ponies for the cover plate?" And I'm like, "Yes, I can do that for you."
That's cool.
Yeah, I think that'd be different.
Do loads of people call
awesome.
you and say, "I got this barn," or "I got a bench out of my grandpa's old horse buggy," or stuff like that? Do you just get inundated with calls like that?
No, it's just everybody wants the history of the piece that I have. That's what they really want. They're like, "What do you have, and how interesting is it?" Like they want to know what I have already,
right.
And they want that history to know that where it came from or I mean, and Montana's only so old, but at the same time, there is some history that goes with that stuff and some lore, and then also the fact to like where I live and what I have in reach of. So like my shop is about 30 miles from my house, and it's up the Blackfoot Canyon up in the Potomac Valley there, and that the Blackfoot River, if you ever got into like the river runs through it, so people know that.
Nice.
And being in the Rocky Mountains and all that good stuff. But yeah, it's gorgeous, like the drive every morning, and I try not to take it for granted, driving past bighorn sheep and bald eagles and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
So
So I believe they prefer just American Eagle, but don't judge them.
Oh man.
I don't know. Anyways, I actually had a decent question that I just completely spaced out on. Well, it must have been good. This has been a ton of fun talking to you about this, and I really appreciate you sharing all the ins and outs and things that are probably things that maybe you find interesting or don't. I'm not really sure, but it's very interesting to us. It's always great to talk to a builder who has a unique perspective on things and has a great story to go with it. So thank you for sharing that.
yeah, I really appreciate having me.
Awesome.
So thank you.
You're not out of the woods yet there, Buster.
Oh no.
You know what it's time for, Tony
Blah, blah, blah,
and Jared?
blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, we're going to fire up the El Camino. We got a long drive. We're going to need some blankets.
Yep.
I think we're going to have to Jared, you're going to have to sit in the back this time because, sorry, Tony
Okay.
and I are taking the cab.
Yep.
We're going to hop on the El Camino and find our way down to, I'm going to do this one. So let's arrange this. Yeah, I'm just taking the
I
wheel.
had one ready, but okay.
Oh, you did?
I do.
Okay.
You got to let me do mine.
All right, I'll
take
let you do yours.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for that awesome, fun game of Would You Rather?
Very nice.
We all take the El Camino way out to Montana, and it's March, so it's still cold as could be out there, right? It's freezing, but there's a heat wave, and it's 20 degrees outside. And you have to do an outside gig at the county thing, but you have to be there, just whatever you want to call it. You have to do the gig outside.
Yeah.
So would you rather rather wear a nice, good quality, warm bear fur coat, but you have to use an old single coil cheapy Sears guitar, an old like 70s Sears and Roebuck, just junky, and it's got rusty strings, and it's a half pint guitar, it's real small, with a crate amp and no effects? Or would you rather wear a thin, cheap Big Bird suit and use a nice quality Gibson Les Paul or Fender Tele with a premium boutique amp like a Fop Star or a Bad Cat? You get the picture.
Did you say a Big Bird suit?
I believe he said Big Bird suit. Yes.
Big Bird. Yeah.
Big
Sesame
yellow
Street.
Sesame Street.
Isn't that like all foam?
Yeah, it's just real thin.
It's very thin.
It's very
the
thin.
wind gets in it, and it's really cold and awful.
So it's like a Big Bird onesie.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
So
That changed things dramatically.
Yeah.
so you can be warm in your bear skin coat,
I believe it's bar.
bar skin
Bar.
coat,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but it has to be a really cruddy guitar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you get a nice guitar and rig with a Big Bird.
Well, let me ask this, Sean. Out that way, is that bear brown, black, or grizzly, or what's out there?
Yeah, so we've got the grizzly and we've got the black bear. So,
Okay.
Ooh.
Yeah. So
Which one is warmer and more luxury?
well, I think the grizzly would be the warmer of the two.
and for you, Jared, I think you'd have to have that one because otherwise
Right.
the black bear would look like a little
Big
cape
bear.
on you.
Big bear. Big bear. Big bear. Yeah, that's from. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, that's an interesting one there, Jared. Let's see here. Tony, we're going to kick you off, and then we'll check in with Jared and Sean and then me.
Is there an option to go shirtless?
No. Yes, you can go shirtless. But you'll be old and nipply.
Yeah.
You'll be awful.
Okay.
I think I want to do the Big Bird. I think I'd like to be Big Bird for a day.
Okay.
I'd like to do that. So I'm going to do that and have the guitar choice and the amp choice, and I'll be a happier camper than, I might just, might not be able to play in a bear skin coat.
On fur? Oh,
So-
I will.
Okay. So I'm going Big Bird.
All right. Let's see, Jared, go ahead.
I'll do the bear coat and just get some WD-40 and rub the strings down and hope for the best. Pretty much, yeah.
I think that's a good choice. Sean, how about yourself?
Well, the obvious choice would be the bear, just because you'd be playing to the audience and everybody's liquored up anyhow, so it doesn't matter. You'd rather be warm and everybody rooting you on. Yeah.
Yeah, I can get down with that. I'm taking the bear too, if nothing else. Just
Coney
the
Island.
idea that there'd be just a silly human up there with a big giant bear hanging off their back, playing a piece of crap guitar. That's worth something, right?
So I'm stranded on Tony
You're
Island.
stranded
once
on Tony
again.
Island.
Yeah. I like it, though. I
like
like the Big Bird idea, too.
Yes. All right, Jared, that was delightful. We need to say thank you to a handful of illustrious human beings, and Tony Baloney's going to start us off there.
That's right, Todd, because at this point of the show, there's a special group of people that we love to thank.
That's right.
This is spelled wrong, Todd.
Oh, stop it. Go ahead.
These are our executive producers now. What's an executive producer? Well, an executive producer makes this show possible. How do you become one? You head over to patreon.com/the Guitar Knobs and check out a couple different levels in which you can participate to become a sponsor, a patron, a friend, a hero of the podcast.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Each level comes with some very nice thank you gifts. But as an executive producer, there's one thing more. Jared, what would that be?
You get to have your name read on the thing, old buddy.
Your name read on the thing. That's what I'm going to attempt to do now, even though I don't have my phone with me. So I'm doing this strictly from memory.
Do it, man.
Special thanks to Moon Guitars, Vader and Pedals, John Halverson, Rick Calhoun, Trevor Gunberg, Elad Mizrahi, Mac D, Richard Kendall, James White, Motander Guitars, Anthony Gemalero, Bill Gola Guitars, John Esterly, Anthony Lathrop, Stefan Lamb, Michael Senchuk, Ken Sayers, Darren Gregory, Tom Barazin, Rusty Sneeden, Ralph Gottschalk from Wonderful Audio Technology. What? Don Kloss, Gregory Randall, Brett Hogarth, Eric Hemmer, Stuart George, Michael Furman, Andrew DeHaan. I'm feeling a bit woozy. James Bell, Cameron Pampas, Trevor Ellenberg, Christopher Logan, and John Sebastian.
Excellent. Hey, quick little shout out to Anthony Gemalero. Yeah.
Yeah?
We've been having some great conversations off the side, and I appreciate that.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah.
But Todd, there's another special group of executive producers.
Yes.
We like to call them our Grand Poobahs.
Grand Poobahs.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, these fine folks wear a fez upon their head whilst
And
drinking
at the same time.
drinking a very mysterious orange liquid.
Yes.
At the Penthouse Suite, of course.
Yes. It's a special brew of cognac.
Is that what it
It's
is?
not any drinks.
Yes.
They won't let me have
It's
any.
cognac and tang.
Oh, God. Oh, that's bad. That's bad news.
Yeah.
So special thanks to these grand poobahs: Tommy Manasco, Ricardo Iguereda, David Kaminga, Brandon Wound Pickups,
That's right.
Hex Matos, Michio Murakishi, Bob Crouch, Jack Cadian, Sam Jett, LSJ Music Company, John Williams, James Pennington, Steve Keys, Cody Foster, Tyler Casey Rhines, Science of Sound, Brian Robinson, Jonathan Jerusik, Corey Nigro, Michael Van Zant, Tim Nowak, Jonathan Daly, Martin Cliff, Sean S. David Poe, Billy Spitfire, Congregation Gear Demos, Scott Sullivan, Paul Van Eppinger, Great Lakes Guitar Pickups, Matt Hart, Enrico Fernando, Moon Guitars, Adam Johnson, Fox Hill Studio, Eric Edwards, easy for me to say, and
good.
David Tyndall.
Yes. Thank you all so very much. You truly are the wind beneath our grizzly bear suit.
That's right.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, we're off to a great start for the year. If you're thinking about this and want to keep the show going, we would love to read your name and have you aboard. So we need to say a tremendous thank you to our friend Sean for hanging out with us and telling us all about his awesome guitars. Sean, where can people go see what you're doing and get one of these things?
Check out the latest is Kochel Guitars on Instagram or at kochelguitars.com. And then you can always find me at Facebook.
Also on Mustache Wars, go ahead and send him a picture of your mustache. I know he would welcome that.
I would like to incorporate a mustache into my build.
Is it yours? No. Go ahead, Tony.
Oh, check out pickguardian.com. Check out some of the things that I do. I make custom pick guards. Yay. Big surprise, right?
Yes.
But you can order some stuff on there, but shoot me an email. Let me know what you're trying to do, what you need.
You're doing a special custom one for a double cut junior, by the way.
I am?
Yes, you are. We're going to talk about that later.
I did not know that. I did not know that.
It's not me.
Oh, it's okay.
No, somebody else. Okay.
Well, nice.
Yes. Jared, about yourself.
You can find me at Instagram, jared.allen.brandon. Instagram. Just send me a message and we'll talk about whatever you want.
Yes.
That is appropriate. Yeah.
Age appropriate.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, as long as you're a real person and you're not, trying to scam me or something, we'll have a good time.
Perfect.
I know a Nigerian prince that might want to get in touch with you.
Yeah.
I know that guy. Yeah.
You're already friends. You can shoot me an email, Todd at theguitarknobs.com. You'll have better success, arguably, if you do that on Instagram at guitarknobs. You can send me or us collectively a question or just share what's going on with you in your guitar world. You can say what you like about the show or throw rocks at Todd.
Rocksfortodd.com.
Please check out the Valentinos on Spotify and anywhere you're getting your streaming music.
Yes.
For some good time rock and roll.
Oh, yes.
Especially when you're driving around.
Thank you,
That's
Bobby
the
and a
best time.
sissy.
Thank you, Bobby and a sissy. All right, everybody. Have a fantastic guitar week. And goodbye, Sean.
Bye.
And subscribe.
Yeah.
So how long of a horse ride would that be?
It'd be about a good 14-hour horse ride.
All right.
Interesting.
That's at a full gallop, though. So.
Okay. I like it.
I'll be in charge of the chuck wagon.
Yeah.
We're gonna get hungry on
And by in charge, you mean I've sequestered the chuck wagon.
No one gets any of the chuck or the wagon.
Oh, hey, can you hear me?
All right. Blah, 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 blah. And I'm going to clap back in.
Hello, my honey. Hello, my baby. Hello, my ragtime doll.
Perfect. All right, here we go. Shut it.
He's having cottage cheese.
Old Jared had to go to have a stress test, and old Jared doesn't eat pizza, and all the good stuff.
He only eats cottage cheese.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, wait.
I don't plow food down anymore.
When you say you can't eat pizza, does that mean you can't eat a whole pizza anymore, or just a pizza?
I don't know.
I appreciate your mustache, and I appreciate you sharing where you're at. And Jared, can you hear us?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. Sean, could you hear the wounded buffalo?
I could, yes.
Excellent. The video just chews up so much.
Bandwidth.
Okay.
Well, I was getting there, Tony, but thank you.
Bandwidth.
Yes.
Two slices.
He rolls up the pizza like a cigar.
Oh yeah, that's
Well,
good.
it's that thin. It's the thin pizza.
Born and raised here in Montana.
So how big is this guy?
Oh God,
It is
Tony.
really big here.
Yeah.
Can't even take it all in at once.
Yeah, Tony has the idiot's guide to low-hanging fruit questions for guests.
Yeah, that's usually one of the first.
Yes.
Turn
Turn
Or
to
you-
page Montana.
Yeah.
Big Sky Country.
Yeah, so my wife and her family are all from Ohio.
Where?
They're from Youngstown.
I'm from Youngstown.
What a connection!
Yeah.
Well, they might know Tony. He's the 8-time running Polska Kielbasa queen of Youngstown.
I had to dress in drag in order to compete in the in the female category.
And nobody thought to ask.
No,
You passed the test.
I
somehow.
shaved.
Yes. Your mustache, anyways.
He's got his own.
So let's
Okay.
get the show on the road.
Alrighty. And away we go.
Well, that's it for these knobs. Please visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/theguitarknobs. Visit our website at theguitarknobs.com for all of our past episodes, 4 on the Floor blog, and other good stuff. You can connect with us on social too at our Facebook page and share your gear and stories on our Facebook group. Also, be sure to check out our Instagram at Guitar Knobs. Catch you next time.